Former Defense Secretary Robert Gates appeared on my PBS program last night to talk about Ukraine. Before going to the Pentagon, Gates spent 26 years at the CIA. He became the agency's go-to man on Russia. Gates is wearing a neck brace because of a recent fall. At the CIA and at the Defense Department, I mean, you have access to all kinds of analysis of Vladimir Putin. What do you think he's up to, and how far is he prepared to go?
Well, I'm kind of amused by some of the headlines that I'm seeing on TV and elsewhere, that he's lost touch with reality, or that he doesn't understand that this is a new world or whatever. He knows exactly what he's doing. He is trying to reestablish Russian influence and a measure of control over the former states of the Soviet Union. He doesn't want to bring them back into the Soviet Union. He doesn't want to recreate the Soviet Union. He just wants them, in effect, to be part of an alliance with Russia, but where they essentially do Russia's bidding. And he's trying to prevent them from moving to the West.
Is the president handling this about right or not?
I think he is. Trying to get the allies on the same page and being willing to collectively first threaten and then potentially implement severe sanctions against Russia for what they have done in Ukraine is exactly what he should be doing. I think the challenge the president faces is that our allies may not be as willing to go along with these sanctions as they should be. We're hearing from the UK, from Germany, elsewhere, a reluctance to impose banking sanctions, to impose trade sanctions, and so on. So I think that the administration and the president personally have their work cut out for them.
So the question to you is, what should we demand for them to lift those sanctions?
I'm skeptical that the Europeans will get behind a set of serious sanctions, okay? That's one of the risks for the president. If he pushes too far and the United States gets too far out in front, and the Europeans, he looks behind him and none of the Europeans are there, then we risk being the ones isolated here. So I mean, I'm not optimistic about how this is going to turn out, quite frankly, partly, in no small part, because I don't think that the Europeans are prepared to take the steps necessary to put the pressure on Putin militarily in Eastern Europe, or economically and politically elsewhere, including in Ukraine.
And that's a bad omen for the future.
I think so.
Gates also urged some of his fellow Republicans to tone down their criticism of President Obama. He said name-calling will not help the United States achieve its goals in Ukraine.
So he thinks essentially that troops will be there for a while.
He does, because he doesn't think the sanctions will happen sufficiently, because he doesn't think the allies are willing to do it. And what we've heard this morning suggests he may be right.
From Germany, indeed.